Hello, hello, and welcome back to Mornings Don't Have to Suck, your go-to AM motivation and mindset podcast to start your day without the dread. In the short time we have together today, you might just learn something new about yourself and how you can approach your day from a new and clever perspective. I am your host, Kaylin, founder of Live Your Clever Life Coaching, and as usual, we will jump right into it today. I'm only slightly chuckling because you may or may not have a blooper. I don't know if I'm going to include it yet, but if you know me, you know my words either come out right sometimes or they just stop, and that may or may not have happened. So anywho, we're going to get right to it. So today we are going to talk about something that I think a lot of us struggle with, something that we would often like a little bit more, support around, and just overall like action oriented things we can do to snap ourselves out of it. And basically what that is showing up for yourself even on the hard days, even on the days you don't feel like it, even on the days when you have absolutely had it with the world, right? Like, how do you stay consistent in whatever you're striving for, whether it's a goal, building your business and you're trying to stay consistent in sales or consistent in content or whatever it may be. Maybe you have to study for something, right? Like, how do you show up and do what you can even when the days are very difficult and your body's like, hey, no. And your mind's like, hey, no. And of course, I am a big supporter of rest. Please hear me. As someone who has once run their body into the ground before because they were just trying to do it all, we rest in this household now. So I am an encourager of rest. And in talking about the topic today, we will talk about one, how to incorporate that, and two, how to still show up in ways that don't drain you and completely suck your soul. So jumping right in. First, when you're going about your day, I want you to think about a couple of things. And the first is, do you have any set of non-negotiables in your day? So when you wake up in the morning, like, you know how it's very usual for most of us out there to wake up, make your bed, brush your teeth. Those are fairly common non-negotiables out there for most people in the general public, in the world that I live in, at least. So thinking about that, on top of those, hygiene type things, what are some non-negotiables that you can complete to ensure you're a little bit closer to whatever you're reaching for? So let's say you're setting a goal to move more. If that is something like hitting a workout class every day or simply going on a walk every day, right? Are you also allowing yourself the flexibility in those non-negotiables? Because some of us don't know how to do that. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about, but that's okay because now you can do this. But taking things and being like, okay, if my goal is to move or walk 10,000 steps a day and I wake up and I feel like crap, I can walk 2,500 and still work towards my goal. It won't be the 10,000, but it'll be something. On the flip side of things, if you're trying to really up your fitness and you're someone who wants to do a bunch of different workout classes, and again, you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, let's say you're a woman and you wake up with cramps and you wake up bloated and you wake up with a headache. If you're lucky, like me sometimes, you wake up nauseous and you're like, great, what's going on? Oh, great, it's day one, right? If you're familiar with that and you're trying to get into those workouts, maybe that HIIT class isn't it today, right? Maybe you go to yoga instead. Maybe you go to a slow flow class or a restore class where you get to lay and be in tune with your body and let it relax. So think about that in whatever non-negotiables you want to implement or already have implemented. How can you be flexible with yourself on days when things are bad or things are tough? How can you still show up for yourself in little ways? That's something that I've had to learn over time, and my body kind of forced me to, because if you listen often, I am a spin instructor. I have been since 2018. When we first started, it was balls to the wall because you had to make sure that you could breathe and talk and teach all at the same time. So I was doing a lot of doubles. I was probably writing 10 times a week. Multiple, like, it was just very normal for me. Now, oh my goodness, if I wrote 10 times a week, my body would be like, ma'am, do you not want to do anything else? You just want to spin and sleep and eat? So think about that. I've had to get real flexible. I do yoga now. I mix a couple different styles of yoga in there, but I am no longer like, oh, we must do this. So start thinking about that, because you could have non-negotiable actions that are flexible, as we've talked about. And I think this leads into the perfect kind of next step of our topic, which is, are you someone, or do you know someone in your life who adopts that all or nothing mentality when they're trying to implement a change, or when they're trying to reach higher, or whatever it is, right? Because when we do this, I want you to think about how your body physically feels. So think about a time where, let's say you're training for a marathon, or you're training for some sort of competition, or you're studying for a test, and you are putting in every single hour possible. You're not giving your body the attention it needs. You're not giving it the rest that it needs. What often does that breed in your chest? Because words that come to mind for me with all or nothing mentality is pressure. We don't do too well under pressure, at least naturally we don't. Some people are great, but not this type of pressure. Anxiety. None of us love that. Can't find a single person on this planet who's like, I love my anxiety. Feels great. Stress. Again, sense of urgency. Sometimes this is great, but 9 times out of 10, it's not. Don't look at my nails if you're on YouTube. None of these help us. And none, regardless of our approach with any of those things, it will not help us, and especially not on our hard days. So if you are someone who often adopts this mindset of all or nothing, I want you to think back to what we just talked about. Non-negotiables with flexibility. Because you can still show up for yourself. You can still hit that consistent, progress every day, even if you're not burning yourself out in the process. And if you are a millennial listener, I know that is hard for you to understand. I am one, don't worry. A lot of us were taught to be perfectionists, whether we like it or not. Outside of that age range, obviously, a lot of others were as well. So give yourself a little grace, as I always say. And on those very inevitable hard days, remember that you're the one who dictates what is successful and what is not about your own life. You do not have to jump into the game of comparison of oh, well, that person's just as tired as me, but they're doing X, Y, Z. That does not matter. You don't know what's happening in the rest of their life as much as you would love to think that you do because of Instagram or because of what you've heard or what you're told. We never know the whole story. So focus on what you can do and focus on where you're at and understand that it's going to look different for you from day to day. Your effort on the days where you wake up super energized and you wake up ready to attack the world is going to look very different than on the days where you wake up and you have no energy and your body's physically sore or you're sick or you've caught something, So just make sure you are considering that as you are waking up and going about your day. Now, something I also want to cover is I talk about in my intro every time that we're working on waking up without the dread. And I want to talk about that a little bit today because I am one of these persons. I'm phasing out of this, but I am one of those people who it's very easy for me to wake up and go, oh, good, this will be a great day, and be sarcastic about it and really be insinuating that it's going to be a bad day. I have a lot of friends that do this. Sorry, my boyfriend does this. Sorry, honey, if you listen to this. I also don't call you honey, so funny. But things to think about when you wake up and you say, oh, this day's going to suck. You are telling your day to suck. And it's going to be like, Roger that, Captain, got it. So be aware of what you're manifesting for yourself in the negative side of the house, because we only talk about manifestation on the positive, like visualize what life do you want, say it to yourself, say it out loud, feel what you will feel in that moment when you have the thing that you're thinking about or you're manifesting. That happens in the same way for negative stuff. So if you wake up and you go, great, this is going to be a long day because you have 5 meetings and then a class and then a dinner happy hour that you scheduled a month ago. When you say it's a long day, it's going to be a long day. If you look at it from the perspective of, wow, yeah, I have those meetings, but then I get to go work out afterwards to relax, and then I get to go see my friends for dinner afterwards. That part, the end of the day, sounds great. And I think a lot of us do a really good job of letting the bad parts of the days that we build up and we dread and we make this big like monster, we do a really good job of letting that outweigh our opportunity to make those days good or finish those days on a positive note. So, not to call anybody out, even though I just called myself out, but if you are somebody who often finds yourself saying, oof, this is going to be a hard day, or oh no, I can already feel that this is going to be a bad day, or ooh, I have a long week ahead of me. Even though if that is true based on your schedule, see where your pockets of joy and rest can be plugged in there, because when you schedule that intentionally, your body is able to reset intentionally as long as you allow yourself to. And then on top of that, you are taking the dread out of it because you're looking at it from a what do I get to do on top of those things? And I know we've heard that before, like it's not you have to, it's you get to, but it really is. And if you're able to kind of flip that switch in your head, it's kind of like, oh, there are some days where I'm just not going to be able to do it if I'm ill or if something's happening, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to do it, especially if I'm not talking myself out of it before I even let myself try. Again, there are going to be days where you wake up ecstatic to live life and you're going out there and you're knocking everything out of the park. And then there are going to be days where you're able to check one thing off of your to-do list. Both are great. Both count and both contribute to whatever end goal you have, right? So consider that as you head into your day today. Remember to also show yourself some self-compassion, because when you start to be kinder to yourself, all of that dread and stuff, there's no really room for it because you're focused on the positive side of the house. And every day that you show yourself a little bit more self-compassion, you're a lot more, able to grow naturally. It's a lot easier to level up. It's a lot easier to start and learn new things when you have that self-support and self-compassion. So take that into your day today. Share that with someone. If you notice, and I know a lot of us do and interact with this at work every single day, whether in person or remote. If you notice people are in bad moods or often waking up on the wrong side of the bed, send this to them. They'll grumble at the end and be like, wow, do you really think this is about me? And I'll be like, yeah, they do, but that's okay because now you're getting help about it. So it's fine. So I recommend share it with somebody you like, you love, even if you don't like them, but you're like, wow, it'd be great if you were in a better mood. Send this their way. As usual, give someone some light, take care of yourselves, stand up for someone out there who needs it. And I will see you back here oh so soon, but have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves. Hello, and welcome back to Mornings Don't Have to Suck, your go-to AM motivation and mindset podcast to start your day without the dread. In the short time we have together today, you might just learn something new about yourself and how to approach your day from a new and clever perspective.